Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another edition of FSI's PGA Preview. Coming off a big Masters week. Big shout out to Dustin Johnson for his win this week. We had a couple of subscribers with some big hauls, a couple of showdown matchups won this week. A lot to be happy about. I had a blast. I was off work watching golf. It was awesome. I'm joined here with John tonight. John, how are we doing? And how was your Masters experience?
Good. It was a lot of fun. The app is amazing. I wasn't able to sit by the TV as much, but having the app was really awesome. Being able to track all the shots and everything. So that was good. We cored Johnson, so we had him in a ton of lineups, and that was helpful. I only had 5 of 6 make cut, but that didn't matter by having DJ in the line. So still profited a little bit on the week. So happy there. But yeah, let's jump into it. This week's event is certainly kind of a staple here on the PGA Tour. We're doing the RSM Classic in Seaside Island, Georgia. They'll play 2 courses this week. Both of them set up really similar, par 70, about 7,000 yards, maybe just over that. They'll play each course once on Thursday and Friday, then play the Seaside course twice on Saturdays, or on Saturday, Sunday. So we kind of focus our stats there this week. Anything else you're expecting here on this course? Easy to hit fairways, easy to hit greens. We're going to be having a lot of tough putts. Guys who are avoiding like 3 putts are going to excel this week.
Anything? I did notice that in the breakdown that the 3-putt avoidance was something that top 5 and the top 10 golfers who had finished in finishing position finished high in that stat. Last week, that was even apparent in the Masters tournament. Guys that avoided those 3 putts, like Cam Smith, like Patrick Reed, those guys were the guys that finished at the top of the leaderboard. So putting was huge here at the RSM and continues to be huge year in and year out. We got coastal wins, so guys that have like the coastal course history background is something that I look to. Guys that play Pebble Beach well, guys that play RBC Heritage, which is in, South Carolina. Guys that play those kind of coastal courses are the correlating picks that I'm making this week. Maybe it doesn't have a lot to do with, recent form, more or less course form and course correlation form is where I'm, directing most of my lineups to this week. Anything to add on that, or how does that sound to you?
Yeah, that's pretty good. These fast Bermuda greens are going to eat a lot of guys up, so that'll differentiate the field this week. So yeah, let's jump right on into it then.
Yeah, get into 10K. Not going to be everyone I'm playing in this range, but who is your favorite here, and would you consider any of these guys locks for cash games?
Honestly, I'll probably be paying for Russell Henley in cash. I think he's a worthy pick. Obviously, Webb Simpson up at the top is a very interesting play. I think he'll be great in tournaments. He's likely to finish top 10, so that's certainly something to keep in mind. But yeah, Russell Henley, he's been playing really well. Last 10 events, he's got 5 top 5s. He did miss the cut actually the last 2 years here at the RSM, but he did top 10 3 times in a row before that. So I'll take the long-term form over just the short-term, I guess. Bermuda's his best putting surface. He's number 1 greens in regulation over the last 36. Proximity in the ranges we're kind of looking at. Number 1 on approach over the last 36 as well. So I'm going to lock Henley into my cash lineups, I believe. What about you? Are you going somewhere else at the top here?
I will tout someone else, but I feel like this is like his year is culminating into a win here at the RSM. Like, I know he's won on a course before this year, but I feel like that stroke gain approach and those numbers that have been unbelievable all year, they're going to lead to a win for this guy soon, and this could very well be the spot. I don't think 10-1 is a price people are going to gravitate towards to pay for Henley, because typically he is a guy that in better fields you see in like the 8K range, maybe in the high 7s. So I really love Russell Henley this week. I'm not afraid to pay for that price tag because I think he has a very good chance of winning, and that's what we want here with this 10-1. The other guy in this range that I feel, obviously other than the Webb Simpson play, I think that goes a little unsaid. Webb Simpson is clearly the best talented golfer in this field. Please do have some exposure if you're doing 20 entry max, maybe even a 3 entry max. But the other guy that I did like that I'm alluding to is Tyrrell Hatton. He is coming with a missed cut at the Masters, but he always misses the cut at the Masters. Ty Hatton stinks at the Masters, but he does bounce back pretty well. He's coming off of the 7th place finish before the Masters missed cut at the Houston Open. He won the Arnold Palmer Invitational. That is another coastal course in Florida with a lot of water, similar to RSM. But yeah, Tyrrell Hatton, 4th in approach, 6 tee to green, 5th in ball striking. I think he, gained 9.5 strokes in Houston. I think Tyrrell Hatton's a great play. He has obviously winning upside. He's got 2 wins on the year. I think if it's anyone up top here, it's Webb and Hatton. Im's coming off of a grind at the Masters is not something I want to pay $11K for. Right. And I don't know what to do with Tommy Fleetwood week in to week out.
Yeah, I'm not touching him right now. I'll wait and see.
So the grind that Sanjay just went through is probably going to be a pass for me, and the Fleetwood missed, terrible form is going to be off for me as well. So that being said, let's get into the 9K range. Give us a go with who you got.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few names I do like in here, but I'm going to probably spend the most here and pay Sebastian Munoz. I mean, I will be putting him in the most of my lineups this week. He's made his last 10 cuts, 19th at the Masters, 8th at the Tour Championship. He was 3rd at this course last year. He does love the Bermuda greens. It's the only surface he gains any strokes on. Looking at his stats here, he's 20th in good drives gained the last 36 rounds. He's the better half of the field in approach, greens and regulation, and really the fast Bermuda greens. He's top 25 there as well. So I like Sebastian Munoz quite a bit this week. What about you here?
Yeah, Munoz was crushing it until Sunday. You would kind of expect that for a guy competing in, was that his first Masters for Sebastian Munoz? What a showing. Really impressed by him. He really hit the ball really well. Like I said, he kind of tailed off on Sunday, but really impressed by him. For me, this 9K range, I got a couple golfers I like. Matthew Fitzpatrick, I think is going to be my favorite GPP play in this range at 99. He was 46th last week. He does have a 14th place finish at the RBC. He's notoriously well at the Arnold Palmer Invitational. He's got a couple of top 5s and top 10s there. He's also pretty good at Memorial. This is like a guy that loves those second short courses with the water, with long second short courses. I do like Fitzy. He is 12th in short game,
great Bermuda putter.
Short game. Yeah, 4th in putting, which is huge here at the RSM, and 10th in greens gained, 28th tee to green, and 30th in par 4, scoring from 400 to 450. Really love Fitzy this week for GPPs because I think Henley, Hatton, those guys are going to be more higher owned as well. You can see some ownership to Day and Harris English. The other guy I like is Joaquin Niemann, who was qualified for the Masters, but did not get to participate because of failing a COVID test. It appears he is back in this field for the RSM. I'm not really sure if he was symptoms. It's something I'm going to look into deeper. As of now, I don't think he had actual symptoms for COVID. I think he just tested positive and couldn't participate.
Yeah.
So I think he has a 5th place finish at the RBC earlier this year, 17th at the Zozo, 6th at the CJ Cup. Shriners was 13th, and he was 23rd at the U.S. Open. So he's got 4 straight events where he's top 25. He's got a 5th place finish in my course correlation. He's 1st in par 4s from 400 to 450, 9100. I think 8th in approach, 3rd tee to green, 2nd in ball striking. Niemann is probably going to be my second cash game play from probably Henley, like yourself. I think Niemann is really sharp, does win these off-season events as well. If you want to drop down into the 8K range, I do like Corey Connors right there at 8,900.
Sure.
He was 10th last week, 23rd in 2018, and 37th in 2019 at this RSM. Third tee to green, third in ball striking, and sixth in par fours from 400 to 450. Corey Connors is hitting the ball lights out. It seems like the putter is getting him through, but this is a course that demands a lot of the putter. So I don't know if I'm going to be huge into Corey Connors. I think GPP-wise, a pivot from, NIEMANN and MUNOZ. I think you couldn't go wrong for a guy that's hitting the ball as well as Corey Connors. Who is your favorite guy here in this 8K range?
Really, I think as far as value goes, I'm going to drop all the way to the bottom again, play Doc Redman. Doc Redman here is, quietly playing well. He's got 23rd at this course last year. He has 3 top 10s in his last 7 events, so certainly has some form, although there's some missed cuts tossed in there as well. But really, I like the approach. 18th, good drives gained. He's 7th. Greens and regulation, top 20. So he hits a lot of the boxes here for me. I'm going to play quite a bit of Doc Redman this week. I think he's a solid cash play as well. So we'll see how that kind of works out. But I like the value there at 8,000. I think he could easily be a little bit higher up in this field at 8,500 or higher. So I will take that discount. I also really kind of like Zach Johnson. I never like to admit that here, but I'll take some Zach Johnson this week as well. And looking just below that, I think Taylor Gooch is going to be very, very popular, but that's 7K.
Yeah. The only other 8K play I have is Charles Howell III, 8,200. He did win this event in 2018, but he does have 2 missed cuts in between that win. So I'm not sure what's real, the win or the 2 missed cuts. So we're going to find out this week. He did have a fairly decent finish, 46th at the Masters. So we'll see with Charles Howell. He's got some surprisingly good putting form. So 8,200, I don't mind that for GBPs. And if Poulter's back holds up, I think that's another play that you can go to. Justin Rose, what are you going to do with Justin Rose? Because I felt like I wanted to mention something about how well he played last week. Is it just because he's good in Augusta, or is he?
Yeah, I think a lot of that is the course history. The form really wasn't there going in. So, and also just in this price range, I'd rather probably play Harmon or, go up from there. And so I don't think I'll end up playing Justin Rose this week. But as a tournament option, I don't think that's an awful play there.
Yeah, I just felt like we had to address it because he played very well at Augusta. Just wasn't sure if it was the course history or it's Justin Rose trying to make his way back to form. Good, but 7K range, not much I like here, so please help me out and give me a few you like.
Yeah, I mean, we were on Sam Burns. Obviously, that is no longer a play. He is out this week. I think Taylor Gooch up at the top is going to be really popular as well. But just as I'm cruising through, once again, value, I think probably a solid cash play this week. All the way down at the bottom here, Matthew NeSmith right at 7,000 even. Again, good value here. He's number 6 on approach in this field over the last 36 rounds. Top 15 in greens and regulation, hits on the proximity. He's not the best putter on these fast Bermuda surfaces, but I think he'll do. He was 14th here last year. But again, just that approach is really, really good. He did have 2 top 25s in his last couple events before the missed cut. So the form is just fine for me, especially at this price with 7K flat. I will play quite a bit of NeSmith this week.
Nice. Something you had mentioned while we were talking before we got on. This is definitely a course that you see new time winners come out. So, a couple of names we were talking about, Christoph Ventura, Will Gordon, and then you had mentioned Matt NeSmith. Definitely a guy I think could find his first win. I'm surprised to not see you click on Henrik Norlander for your play down here. I actually think he sets up pretty well.
I clicked and I dug into Norlander. There's some things I don't like. The biggest thing for me is the current form. Yeah. Miscut, then 2 made cuts, then miscut. That just, it's not enough. Now, he's certainly a high upside, but 0 floor guy, in my opinion. That's sometimes why I like playing Norlander, but especially just for the value, I think this week dropping down 100 more, paying for NeSmith, who's playing a lot better.
All right, my 7K guy is going to be CT Pan at 7,900. Panama was 7th last week, 25th on the approach, and he is 14th in proximity from 150 to 175. Pan, just like you had mentioned with Henrik Norlander, is a boomer bust kind of play, but it looks like he was playing lights out at Augusta, which is not an easy course. He doesn't really have much other course form to talk about as far as correlation courses. But when he makes the cut, I think he can get high in the leaderboard. And with the 12th place you see at the Sanderson, I like CT Pan. He could garner some ownership for how well he did play last week. People are going to see that when they click on his name for the game logs, but I think it's fair, and I think you can look to him and probably Lee Westwood, Brendan Todd. Those 3 plays are going to would be my favorite plays in this high.
Give me the Taylor Gooch right there instead. I'll take Taylor Gooch over them.
I think that's a very good pivot off of probably the chalk CT Pan. The other only play I had in the middle would be STEWART CINK, which is nothing I want to really be excited about, but I guess worth mentioning. He's made 6 of 8 cuts at the RSM. An old timer on the tour. I think his experience could gain an advantage over some of these other guys that may not know how to play on this kind of course. With the coastal winds. He is coming off of a win at Safeway earlier in the year, the 4th place at the Bermuda Championship, which is on a coastal course in the middle of this ocean. So I think I could roll the dice with STEWART CINK. He had some extra time off after the missed cut in Houston. So good to see him in the field. But with that, let's get into some punt options.
Yeah, Cam Davis is worth mentioning down there as well.
Yes.
I think he's got a decent chance to finish well. He's been playing well, so we've actually played a lot of Cam Davis over the last couple of months, and I don't really see that stopping this week.
Yeah, just scared of the last round, the last tournament. I was like, whoa, Cam, this isn't you. Ooh, Graham McDowell at 6,900. I didn't see that before. Anyway, go ahead with your 6K plays.
Yeah, so this time instead of going down to the bottom, I'm going to be all the way up at the top here. James Hahn is a guy who pops for me here in the modeling. He is number 1 in good drives gained and number 4 greens in regulation over the last 36. So that really propels him. The proximity is not really there, but he actually does really well, top 25 on these fast Bermuda greens. So I like that, top half the field in approach. So I think he's got a chance here. He did make his last 4 cuts, and he does have the 3 top 10s during that time. So I really do like the form coming in for a guy in the 6K range. 17th here in 2014, along with a missed cut last year. He's played it 3 times. So I'll take that. Top 20 would be great this week from a 6K guy. He is probably my favorite play. There's a bunch of other guys I'll probably sprinkle in and play a bit more stars and scrubs. I think you and I talked about that might be the more popular approach in my opinion this week. So I think end up going that route a little bit more.
Yeah, I just wrote that down and circled it. I think that's a really sharp play. I was not on coming into the video, so good. Much thanks for that. I think the guy that I was looking at the most was Martin Laird at 6,800. He had won earlier at the Shriners. He's second, 26th in approach and 18th tee degree, 15th ball striking. But that's pretty much all Martin Laird does. The putting is not something that we are, really impressed by with Party Marty. After his win, he missed the cut. That's understandable. But I don't mind him at 6,800. Cam PERCY as well at 65, 8th in proximity. He has 4 straight top 20s, and he is 13th in approach. So I don't mind Cam PERCY. I noticed Duffner is down there at 6,400 as well. Is there anything else you like down here in this 6K range?
You always play Duffner. You can't help yourself.
I can't help it.
We talked a little bit beforehand. I do like Pat Perez. He popped up in the modeling a little bit for me. I end up playing Jinju Zhang basically whenever he's in the field as well. I think he's a very talented guy at 6,400. I don't know how much farther down I can really go though in this range. That's probably going to be just about it for me.
Hmm. Yeah, don't mind that. And Graham McDowell, I noticed while we were scrolling through here, that's a coastal wind kind of golfer, you know, somebody who's won RBC championships before. So I don't mind Graham McDowell either. You know, Brian Gay is withdrawn. That's another name. I wouldn't mind coming off of his win. Oh, I got to talk about Tyler Duncan, 7K, defending champ, my boy T Dunks. This is his tournament. Couple of strong finishes here at the RSM. 21st in approach. He's 18th in ball striking, 29th in proximity. He finished his second round at the Masters 1 under. If he doesn't blow up on round 1, he might make the cut. You know, he had the 2 T28s in the no-cut events, but, you know, the form kind of isn't there. But, you know, he's going to a place he knows well. This is probably going to be it for Tyler Duncan. 32 tournaments for Tyler Duncan. The guy really made some money this year. Well, if you got the exemptions, use them, right?
That's right.
Nobody plays more tournaments.
Torres is thinking now.
Yeah.
He's got the permanent exemption or unlimited exemptions for the rest of the year. So he is going to get his tour card this year, no doubt about it. I wish he was playing this week.
I'm gonna play some Tyler Duncan, hoping he wants more money, making them cuts. So that'll pretty much do it for me. Anything else to add?
No, just you know, check with us in the Discord here if things change on the wind and we get some wave advantages. This is the type of week, these coastal courses, where things could change drastically from one time of day to the other. We'll be all over it each day, checking the wind tracker and trying to figure out if we can squeeze an angle there. It's tough to tell this far in advance, but I think that's where we're going to kind of hone in over the next 24 hours instead of looking as much at ownership like we did last week. This week it'd probably be a little more focused on the weather, I think.
I think that's really sharp. Definitely something we do for the coastal courses. Well, awesome stuff, John. Thank you for joining tonight. And
one and dones.
Oh, yes, one and dones, because I forgot last week. Off air, we did our one and dones. I went with John Rahm. You had went with
DJ.
Yeah.
DJ.
Stole the show and crushed me. But
2 million.
Yeah, I got a lot of ground to make up over the course of the year. So
yeah, you need to pick first this week. Who would you like to take?
All right. Let's see. I don't want to burn a stud at a course where you usually see a first time winner. I'm gonna go with Joaquin Niemann.
Joaquin Niemann. All right. Well, I'll burn a stud. I'll play Webb Simpson. That's fine by me.
Okay. All right. Well, that'll do it for us at FSI. As always, like and subscribe our videos. You can get into our Discord channel by following us on Twitter at FSI DFS, and then get at us on the website fsidfs.com. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, please. Fantasy Sports Insight. We are climbing the ranks, and we appreciate your support, and much thanks. And John, have a good night, and everybody, let's have a good week.
Let's get it. Green screens.